Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live more news up here at Desawe in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance.
4 suspected members of the group which forced out the CEO of the Tamale Teaching Hospital arrested.
And roadmap towards lifting the ban on small-scale mining to be announced tomorrow, Thursday, August 16th.
Also ahead this evening, National Association of Graduate Teachers NAGRAT serves notice its members will not work on weekends under the double-track system.
And in business tonight, Finance Committee of Parliament to open full probe into circumstances leading to the collapse of the 7 indigenous banks.
Ahead in sports, government to engage World Football Governing Body FIFA over its Ghana ban threat.
And on the foreign front, 48 people killed and 67 injured in a bomb explosion at an education center in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul.
Stay with us here on News 360. You've got the details of these stories and some more news. The bulletin is streaming live all across the world on 3news.com. Our very first story this evening, 4 suspected members of the group which attacked the Tamale Teaching Hospital and chased out its chief executive officer, Dr. David Kolbila, have been arrested. The group accused the CEO of incompetence and misuse of the hospital's funds. They also claimed he had neglected them despite the role they played in getting him appointed. Dr. Kolbila was reinstated on Tuesday after RegSec unlocked his office and assured him of security. In February last year, another group in a similar fashion demanded the dismissal of his predecessor, Dr. Prosper Akambong.
We'll bring you more on this particular development as well in the bulletin. But a roadmap towards the lifting of the ban on small-scale mining is expected to be announced tomorrow, Thursday, August 16. A statement issued by the Deputy Minister for Information indicated the Ministerial Committee has completed its assignment after a year of comprehensive work.
Would outline measures to regulate the activities of small-scale miners and guide their operations. The ban on small-scale mining, which has been in force since January 2017, was as a result of years of extensive devastation of forest farmlands and river bodies through mining activities, particularly galamsey operations. The ban was initially for 6 months but had to be extended as government maintained it was seeking appropriate strategies to regulate the sector and refine operations. The Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining was constituted in March last year with the mandate to enforce the ban and develop a comprehensive roadmap to guide the activities of small-scale miners to ensure sustainable mining and protect the environment.
Let's turn to education this evening as the National Association of Graduate Teachers NAGRAT says it will not allow its members to work on weekends as proposed in the free senior high school double-track system. According to NAGRAT, although it supports the system, it will resist any attempts to get its members working extra hours because that's against the labor law.
The General Secretary of the Association, Samuel Frank Dadzi, was speaking at the Daily Graphic Star Ghana Dialogue on Educational Policy in Ghana. Raising several concerns about the policy, Frank Dadzi expressed disappointment over lack of consultation on its implementation. Speaking on the theme, unpacking the double-track system, implications for sustainable financing and prospects for educational quality in Ghana, he questioned the kind of free senior high school that the country wants to achieve by the introduction of the double-track system.
Any 7 normal days of of working, you are entitled to 48 hours of rest. And teachers will insist on that. We will not work on Saturdays and Sunday. We support the free SHS. In talking about quality, I've pointed out the role of the teacher. Now we are asking the teacher to stay in for 8 hours, forgetting that it is not just what you deliver, forgetting that you have to take students on excursion, forgetting that you have to give tests, assess students, forgetting that you have to mark exercises, you have to get to the school before the school starts.
Former Deputy Director General of the GES, Charles Ahetochega, argued that not much thought went into the design of the free SHS, hence the problems. In his view, the school placement system can address the challenges.
5 fingers that are on the hand, and they are all on the hand, isn't it? But if you look at my 5 fingers, they are not all the same. Now for me, that is how we should run our secondary schools. We have everybody finishing BEC wanting to go into secondary school. We need them all in secondary school, but they cannot all go to the kind of schools. We should now find a way of placing them in the specific areas so they fit.
Director of Programs at CDD, Dr. Franklin Odro, said the discussion has become necessary to ensure that access to schools corresponds with quality. The PRO for the Conference of Heads of Private Secondary Schools, Naftali Cheba, argued the private sector schools have the facilities and are ready to absorb the excess students for which government is introducing the double-track system.
Most private schools have collapsed, and as we speak, meanwhile they have the facilities to absorb over 2,000, close to 3,000 candidates, but they have collapsed. What are they using those facilities for? Meanwhile, we have other students in public school that have been overpacked.
The Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Edichum, was emphatic. Private schools would not be considered in this regard.
We can continue to have dialogue in any way, shape or form that we can help the private sector to thrive. It is the best interest of the ministry to do that, and we'll continue to do that. But double track is here, and we cannot send any student at this time to private school.
Other participants questioned the lack of clear exit plan, but the minister insisted the system would be phased out when adequate infrastructure is provided.
Well, let's just stay a bit further with education, because Chairman of the Ghana Education Service Council, Michael Nsoa, has refuted claims the licensing of teachers has been suspended. Speaking on 3FM on Wednesday morning with host Winston Amoah, he said a crucial meeting on Friday between the teacher unions and government would go into the merits and demerits of the matter.
The Ghana Education Service, GES, is advocating that teachers should pass a special examination after mandatory training before being granted a license to teach. The maiden examination is scheduled to start in September. Reports were rife on Tuesday that the National Teaching Council, NTC, had suspended the impending examination.
On Friday, there's a meeting. Oh, okay. So if anybody who made that announcement, you see, currently, letters and circulars are going on in the social media. One was even saying those who will be basic education should be redeployed to the basic primary school.
Yes, is that true?
That is not true. That's a fake letter. We've got one on social media on this track and so on and so forth. And they are all fake because the signature does not belong to Dr. Evelyn Owusu, who is the Executive Secretary of the NTC. So I don't know what is going on now.
Meanwhile, GES Council Chair says the processes to get additional 8,000 teachers to kickstart the double-track system will be completed this weekend.
Every school has a timetable organizer. Let me use that word. All these have been have come to Accra, region by region, to prepare their timetable and also give us the extra numbers of teachers in the subject areas for which they will need these teachers, so that we'll give them the teachers. Now we say we want around 8,000. It has to be subject specific. The fact that you hold a certificate doesn't mean if we don't need your subject area currently, then we are not going to. We are going to be very selective.
The need for additional teachers has become crucial following plans by government to implement a double-track system for senior high schools.
Some other news this evening. The Ize of Igbo community in Ghana, Ize Dr. Jude Chukwudi Ihenetu, has admonished Nigeria and other foreign nationals to allow due process to resolve the issues on foreign nationals in retail business in Ghana. He maintained keeping their calm in the face of extreme provocation would not only bring sanity, but also maintain peaceful coexistence.
Agitations over foreigners, especially Nigerians in retail trade, has taken a new twist. There were reports of an attack at Swami Magazine in Kumasi on Nigerian traders by some members of Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, last week. Another incident broke out at the Tiptoe Lane at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra on Tuesday. 6 people suspected to be Nigerians reportedly broke into Ghanaian-owned shops, ransacked them and damaged property. But the Eze of Igbo community in Ghana, Eze Dr. Jude Chukwudi, says such actions cannot resolve the problem.
We have never challenged anybody, we have never fight anybody. We have never exchanged words with anybody, so I must say my fellow Nigerians keeping cool and also respecting the law of the land.
He maintained series of meetings are ongoing and it was only proper to remain calm.
And they're gonna, look into the matter. If we are violent people, just like what happened in South Africa, but we cannot do it. We respect the law of Ghana.
As Dr. Jude Chukwudi made references to the ECOWAS treaty and the efforts for integration and wondered why such incidents should be happening now.
The involvement of foreigners in every country is for development. They try as much as they can to help to grow the economy. I don't think any foreigner is going to any country without thinking about investment. If there's a Mensa, it means that it's not 100% must. Some will also do what they think is good for them. But since majority are respecting the country, the host nation, we should also thank God for that.
A chartered environmentalist at the Institute of Environmental Assessment, Dr. Eric Chum, has stated the need for capacity building for small-scale miners.
I believe it's about time they re-look into the issue of the mining licenses and get the right qualified individuals to do their own business.
Dr. Eric Chum indicated government should not lose sight of capacity building for small-scale miners.
We need to build the capacity of our mining companies, those with licenses, on reclamation, how to put back the land that are destroyed, how to restore them, and have what we call ecosystem services restored in those areas. This is very important in going forward.
Acting National Project Coordinator of the Multilateral Mining Integrated Project, MMIP, Isaac Bonsukakari, explains the rationale behind the project.
And the MMIP basically is a document which comes with this working document called the PAID, the Project Appraisal Implementation Document, which is just generally to stop illegal mining and ensure that the whole small-scale mining sector is sanitized. And it's a project management approach, which means that we're going to make sure that there are clear timelines and milestones and targets going through the procurement process so that everything is transparently done, and involving capacity building of these miners, involving training, of course, and then also making sure that we bring in technology, appropriate technology, to be able to let them do sustainable mining moving.
Now, pressure is mounting on African governments to set up funds for victims in times of disasters caused by climate change. Director General to the Center for Sustainable Development Goals in Africa, Dr. Bile Begashau, says this is in conformity with measures towards attaining the Sustainable Development Goal 13. He was speaking at a homecoming ceremony of the West African Science Service Center on Climate Change and Adapted Land Use.
Sustainable Development Goal 13 advocates urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. Countries are therefore expected to prepare, communicate and maintain successive nationally determined contributions reflecting official country responses. Deputy Head of Mission of the German Embassy to Accra, His Excellency Hans-Helge Sander, recommended proactive insurance measures to these situations.
One of the mechanisms could, for example, also be a type of insurance model to develop an insurance fund to say, how can we make funds available maybe within a couple of days, not within a couple of weeks or months. So immediately countries struck by drought, struck by flooding, that they have the possibilities and the funds available to secure basic nutrition needs, basic health needs of their population immediately in a very short time after such disaster happens.
This, he noted, would also promote food security in the continent.
Have to look into which kind of agriculture, for example, is working in a situation where rainfalls become less stable, less predictable, while on the other hand we have the risk of floods, for example. So those are the things where countries have to look into to see how are they going to secure the livelihoods of their people.
Minister of Higher Education, Scientific Research and Innovation in Burkina Faso, Professor Al-Kasum Mega, called for collaboration between African countries to combat climate change.
That we have to have the good cooperation between our universities and our research center to take care of our climate and to see how we can have some synergy.
The Wasca Homecoming is a gathering of experts to discuss African success stories in combating climate change.
On MTN video report tonight, our citizen journalist Dodovi Mensah highlights the poor drainage system at the Bamboy Road in the northern region.
This is a very big gutter that has been washed by rains over the years. It has been one of the problems confronting the people of Bamboy and its environs. This erosion has eaten all over, getting into the road that leads to the Black Volta. All access roads very soon will be blocked and there will be no way to go into the Black Volta to fetch water. People have been using this place as a refuse dump. When it rains, the rainwater washes all this dirt into the Black Volta. We are appealing to the authorities in charge to construct a drain that will lead straight to the Black Volta. This is your citizen journalist, Dodovi Mensah, reporting from Bamboy.
You can also send your video report via WhatsApp number 055-1433-044, 055-1433-044. So we're just getting some information that the 4 Kandahar boys who were arrested by the police earlier today have been released. We'll bring you details of this as we go on in the bulletin.
Welcome back to News 360. Some news from the world of business now. And we start off with the Finance Committee of Parliament, which is set to open a full probe into the circumstances leading to the collapse of 7 indigenous banks since 2017. Ranking member of the committee, Kasil Ato-Forsin, said the modalities of the probe would be made available to the public in due time. He explained that the committee is yet to decide whether the intended probe will be open or whether it will be in camera. A civil society group, New Era Africa, had petitioned Parliament to conduct a bipartisan public inquiry into the recent banking crisis. According to the group, the cost of 7 defunct banks in the past 1 year will be borne by the people of Ghana. Hence, it will be prudent for the people's representative to probe the issues that led to the collapse of these banks. Now, the year-on-year inflation rate for July was 9.6%. This was a decline of 0.4 percentage points from the 10% recorded in June. Acting government statistician at the Ghana Statistical Service, Bar Wadie, attributed the fall in the inflation rate to a base drift effect in both food and non-food inflation rates. The Consumer Price Index measures changes over time in the general price level of goods and services that households acquire for consumption. Acting government statistician Bar Wadie noted the main price drivers in the food inflation included coffee, tea, cocoa, fruits, meat and meat products, soft drinks and vegetables. The main price drivers in the non-food inflation included clothing and footwear, transport, recreation and culture, furnishing and household equipment. For 12 months, non-food inflation has been 1.5 times higher than food inflation.
Factors that influence non-food always keep it up. Apart from that, we realize that non-food has a lot of influence from the external factors, particularly because much of non-food is imported. And for the locally produced one too, they also are influenced a lot by such policy interventions like changes in the fuel prices, changes in utility prices and the like.
The acting government statistician noted the fluctuation in the inflation rates and attributed that to a variety of factors.
Due to policy interventions, and others were due to the base drift effect, which we don't have control over, and maybe external factors.
5 regions, Upper West, Bono Ahafo, Western, Ashanti and Northern, recorded inflation rates higher than the national average of 9.6%. Upper West region recorded the highest year-on-year inflation rate of 11.5%, followed by Bono Ahafo region with 10.5%, while Upper East region recorded the lowest year-on-year inflation rate of 7.8%. And let's return to the banking sector now, as government has denied claims that the recent merger of 5 local banks to form a consolidated bank is politically motivated. Addressing a news conference in Accra, Information Minister Designate Kojo Oppong Nkrumah said the move by the central bank has become necessary due to the distress in the financial sector.
Government has set up the Office of Ethics and Internal Investigations to interrogate the roles of persons at the Bank of Ghana who may have contributed to the collapse of the 7 banks. The office will also look at the systems at the central bank and come out with a more robust solution to the problems currently facing the banking sector.
Prosecutorial action against persons found culpable should be commencing soon. We have a history in this country where agencies conduct their investigation, present it to the prosecutorial agencies, and sometimes the courts have shut it down because the prosecutorial agencies did not do their own work and come up with their own dockets. So it's important that that is also done properly so that nobody goes to court to go and falter.
The Information Minister Designate said government believes that Ghana would have a strong financial services sector with strong indigenous banks.
The roadmap that was developed from about April 2017, when the new regulators of the central bank took over, is a roadmap that allowed many of these organizations to submit recapitalization plans. But these plans have timelines. Cannot go on in perpetuity, and that's why the bank at a point had to step in and allow a bigger bank to assume them, because the bank also couldn't keep pumping emergency liquidity assistance into it when the recap plans were not materializing and depositors were at risk.
In some other business news, data from the Bank of Ghana indicates that mobile money subscribers have reached 30 million as at June 2018 compared to 13 million in 2015. At a stakeholders conference organized by MTN, the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Efari, said the geometric growth of mobile money transactions cannot be understated.
MTN Mobile Money Service was introduced in 2009 to make financial transactions fast, simple, convenient and secure. It has, amongst other things, transformed the lives of the ordinary Ghanaians, created jobs, reduced revenue leakages and enhanced attitudes among the unbanked. It is gradually leading the way towards a cashless society, as it has become the milestone for financial inclusion.
Digitizing payments helps us to manage cash and improve the efficiency of money. Then bringing the informal sector in, we will be able to gather data on almost everybody, their activities and their financial transactions. That way, we are able to plan better.
However, stakeholders lament additional taxes on financial transactions could affect gains made towards achieving the cash-light society.
Let's support and incentivize the space to grow, rather than come to now put an intervention which will slow down the growth and may not be compensation enough.
Deputy Finance Minister Kwaku Ajiman-Kwarteng explained government does not have immediate plans to introduce such taxes and called for more dialogue with the telcos to advance digitalization efforts.
Government has not made a decision to impose additional taxes on mobile money as is being suggested, but if at all government is minded to introduce any taxes related to mobile money, government will do so sensitive to the consequences.
Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, underscored the need for stakeholders to create an enabling environment to push the cashless economy agenda. Other speakers at the conference agreed exponential growth of the mobile money calls for cross-policy dialogue to formalize the economy. The amount of money mobilized through mobile money reached 2.3 billion cedis as of December 2017.
And on that note, we round up the business news on NEWS360 this evening. There's more business news. It's on our website. That's 3news.com. On to you, Alfred.
All right, so Natalie, thank you for business. Now, just to go back to the breaking news we put out earlier, the 4 suspects arrested this afternoon by the joint police and military team at the base of the Kandahar Youth Group have been released unconditionally, according to the Northern Region Crime Office Officer ASP Pepra. So this follows an identification session by the CEO who is a witness at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Dr. David Zawunya Akobela. So that is the news just coming through with a lot more detail as we put out earlier. The 4 suspects who were arrested earlier today, that's in the afternoon, by the joint police and military team at the base of the Kandahar Youth Group have been released unconditionally, according to the Northern Regional Crime Officer, ASP Pepra. Remember, they were picked up in connection with the incident that happened on Monday, where the group, a youth group, stormed the hospital. Now, leadership of the pro-NPP vigilante group, that's Kandahar Boys, earlier demanded the release of their members from police custody after 4 of them were arrested earlier. Police investigation, or police actually investigating circumstances leading to members of the group storming the Tamale Teaching Hospital, taking its CEO hostage and asking him out of the office. The group addressed a press conference
we have full
in Tamale.
In the government that the perpetrators of these actions will be brought to book. However,
so that is the information we're getting there earlier. But we spoke to the head of public affairs at the Northern Regional Police Command, DSP Yosef Tanko, who responded as to how the circumstances under which they picked up these 4 who have now been released.
Afternoon. The police, together with the military, went to a section of Abu Abu where it's going to be a base for a group that calls itself, and we managed to pick 4 persons from there to assist investigations. We are going to screen them to see if we will be able to find some of our suspects among the 4. We have invited the hospital authority to assist us in the screening exercise. Also, we have been able to identify the house of one Baba Alasan, who granted media interview immediately after the disturbance at the hospital. We went to the house this afternoon, but we were not able to get him, though we've left word with the household that he is needed to assist in police investigations, so he to avail himself. So that is what we have for you this afternoon.
And you're saying that these youth that you have in the custody are members of Kandahar Boys?
Kandahar, yes.
Okay, so I wanted to confirm, because earlier we spoke to the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Tamale, Musa Superior, who indicated that he can actually vouch that no member of this group, Kandahar Boys, was involved in what happened on Monday.
I told you we went to a base that is known to be a Kandahar base and put suspects for screening. But mind you, we are not looking for Kandahar Boys to arrest. We are looking for persons who went to the hospital, march out the chief executive officer from the office and locked it up. So in the course of our investigation, we picked some intelligence that indicated that some of them are Kandahar Boys, and that is why we carried this particular exercise. Yeah, we are carrying.
So that is the information that we're getting now with respect to this particular story. We're updating you as the days goes by in our subsequent bulletins. So that is information. The Kandahar boys who were arrested earlier in the day have been released unconditionally upon the witness identifying every one of them that they were not part of those who stormed the hospital on Monday.
Absolutely, Alfred. You can also get some more on that on our website. It's 3news.com. You're watching News 360. We've got some sports news coming up with Theory Nan shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Let's now get some news on the international front this evening, as 48 people have been killed and 67 injured in a bomb explosion at an education center in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul, the country's health ministry has said. Police say a suicide bomber walked into the center while teaching was underway and detonated his bomb belt. Many of those killed are believed to be teenagers who were getting extra tuition as they prepared for university entrance exams. The Taliban has denied involvement. This latest attack came hours after the Taliban said it could no longer guarantee safe passage for Red Cross staff working in Afghanistan amid a row over the treatment of Taliban prisoners in a jail in Kabul. The attack on the education center took place in a mostly Shia Muslim neighborhood of Kabul. The Shia community in Afghanistan has been repeatedly targeted by Sunni Muslim extremists of the Islamic State group, which views the Shia practice of Islam as heretical. Meanwhile, local officials say at least 9 policemen and 35 soldiers were killed in an attack on a military outpost in the northern province of Baghlan early on Wednesday morning. Afghanistan has seen a recent upsurge in military violence, including a major Taliban assault on the eastern city of Ghazni. At least 100 members of the security forces were killed in the fighting in Ghazni, according to officials, with unconfirmed reports that dozens of civilians also died.
Zimbabwe's president-elect, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has filed submissions in the country's constitutional court, opposing a challenge to his victory by main opposition leader Nelson Chamisa. Chamisa says the July 30 vote was rigged and challenged the results, which gave Mnangagwa 2.46 million votes against 2.15 million votes for him.
Paul Mangwana, the ruling party's legal affairs secretary and one of Mnangagwa's lawyers, said Chamisa would now be required to respond to Mnangagwa's application before the matter is set down for a hearing. Paul Mangwana further said the papers show that the MDC alliance has not complied with the rules of court and also that they do not have a case on merit. Another of Nangagwa's lawyers, Louis Uriri, said he had asked the courts to dismiss Chamisa's application, which he said had missed an 8 a.m. deadline last Friday. ZANU-PF's legal team has also argued that Chamisa and his MDC alliance cannot prove that presidential election results announced by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission were wrong, as they did not make use of a provision in the...
Still live on NEWS360. We'll be back with some more stories after this. To stay.
Hello there, Miriam Osei Edgeman. It's time to do some entertainment news on NEWS360. Now, the father of late dancehall diva Ebony Rains, Nana Opoku-Kwarteng, says perception that he is greedy and bent on amassing wealth from her daughter's demise are unfounded. The worried father again opened up on how a chunk of proceeds from Ebony's tribute concert ended up being shared amongst musicians, DJs, MCs, and the media. He vowed to see to it that monies due his late daughter don't end up in the wrong hands.
It's not about money, but the fact that it isn't about money, that's also, it can't be the case that I should let what is due Ebony just go down the goddamn rain. No way. It wouldn't be the case. You know what? Bullet said there was this 50,000 he was going to use to do that, for the concert revenue. But the concert I was there when they presented like it is, according to the calculations, and now I have them here. He wrote it in his own handwriting. This is the calculation, bullet date and presented for the content. This is from 1 to 3. I have them here. I want to put it out here for us to do the calculation so that you and I will understand that indeed the greedy bastard being me might not even be the case. Media Sole, I don't know what that is. Maybe you know better. That is 4,000, I mean. He says the artist, so I could see Adam, the artist, took 3,000. Keche took 3,000. Raskuku took 1,500. Captain Planet took 2,000. Kodet took 1,000. R2B 3,000. Raquel or whatever 1,000. Carl Songs 1,000. And the MCs DKB took 1,000. OG Ebony's I don't know, this guy the closest yes, he took 5,000. 500. No, 500, sorry about that. DJs Shawarma, Ebony's DJ took 500. Everybody's DJ Shawarma took 500. So the amount that was left, according to him, was 4,660.068. And the 40% that is due the Queen. According to the calculation here, I was supposed to receive 1,864.272. But it was so nice to me. They added 200 Ghana to it. It's gesture, making 2,000, of which I so much appreciate.
So meanwhile, the names of some of the artists mentioned by Nana Opoku-Kwarteng to have been paid by Bullet for performing at her tribute concert have reacted to the allegations.
Media, and it's just funny. I am just asking myself, why would you'd go and support a sister and the next minute they have to bring informations out that you went to perform for money and then you were paid for 1,000 Ghana cedis. I think it's very, very wrong for people to be sending such informations across board. Whatsoever Bullet has got business going on with the family of Ebony Rains, may her soul rest in peace. I believe that they should solve it themselves, but involving artists and stuff like that and tarnishing their images and stuff like that is not healthy. I believe strongly that I will never go to any platform or show and go for 1,000 Ghana cedis. It's very, very, very demeaning, and it's not healthy. Let's just stop this. It's not cool.
Other artists that were listed on the sheet, including R2Bs and Raquel, they've all denied the fact that they took money to perform at the concert. Well, we'll see how this develops in the coming days. But still staying with Rough Town Records, because singer Wendy Shay was introduced by Rough Town Records months ago as Ebony's replacement. But what does Ebony's father make of Wendy Shay's talent?
So what do you
think of Wendy Shay?
looking at things, she's going to do well. She will need the support of the general masses to make it work like Ohima had. And I pray that she gets that support to excel, because I could see some talent in her. So I wish her well.
A lot of people think that she's a prime replacement for Ebony. What do you think?
Replacement? For replacement, I'm not too sure about that, because Ebony was Ebony, for real. So obviously, like me sitting here, I'm very different and unique. She could be better than Ebony, but as equality or something, I'm not too sure it's going to be the case. But she could be better. Who knows? It's only time that will tell.
If you had an opportunity to meet with her, what advice would you give her?
Again, I would encourage her to do some more. She should work harder, because hard work, I've always said, pays. So I always say she should do well. She should, yes, be so heavy on her activities to excel. That would be my best advice.
Anything related to her, her work with Rough Town Records, what advice would you give her?
It's a beautiful choice. She's made a choice. Her choice should be respected. So I respect her choice. So that's it. I respect her choice.
Bullet, Rough Town did make a star out of your daughter. If any of your children plans to do music, would you ever consider them working with Bullet?
For my daughter going to Bullet and to manage, I'm not too sure. No, never at all. Unless maybe I'm going to draw the contract.
Well, that's about it for entertainment. There's more news on 3news.com. My name is Miriam Osei Ajman. I'm back on 3FM 92.7 at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Well,
certainly quite an issue there, Miriam, isn't it?
You look very startled.
I am, but it's...
Absolutely, and I'm just hoping that all of this will end so that she will continue to rest in perfect peace.
Absolutely.
She needs that. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you very much for spending your 60 minutes with us here on NEWS360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Ford. Visit our website, it's 3news.com. You can get some more news on there. News at 10 will simulcast on 3FM 92.7. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening.